stranger to those who know my name. My voice will come later than the things I say when the light starts shining. We all look the same. Yeah, when the light starts shining, we all just look the same. Say
Africa, we are coming for you.
Excitement and wonder was about to turn to reality, but we weren't even sure if we would be let into South Africa, and we had 16 countries to go. Our only onward ticket, a motorbike.
Here we are in Cape Town. The scenery is just as dramatic as we might have expected.
Yeah, we're just on our way to the port depot to pick up our bikes. At last, we've been in Cape Town for 8 days now and they've finally arrived, so it's going to be great to finally pick them up and go for a ride. The Odyssey sticker, once this goes on, bike's on the Odyssey.
I was wondering if that would actually make a difference.
Old Faithful's on the tour.
Time to christen Audrey. Make her officially an African Odyssey bike.
It's leave day here at Cape Town, here with Dominique, my motorcycle. It's been a pretty hectic day, to be honest. Last night started work on the bike around 4 PM, worked through till 11, and it's just gone midday. We're on the 13th of August.
Bit worried about how some of these things are going to stay on. Might need to rework this in the coming days, but oh well, we'll just hit the road. I just want to get on the road and then we'll just iron out these problems.
With loads of ironing left to do, we set out east from Cape Town to Jeffreys Bay. Here we swung north towards Botswana's salt pans in the Okavango Delta.
Just had our first breakdown about 20 kilometres from Table Mountain, which you can see up there, and Mungo's bike has decided to pack it up on the motorway, so we're all pulled over on the side of the motorway here and trying to figure out what's wrong.
Not too impressed putting this filter on. It's not letting any gas through, so it's got no gas going in the engine. Lasted a good 10 k's or so, but now I've got to get the thing off and put another one on, or just shortcut it and put a whole new pipe on. day's riding along the coast today. Took a little bit longer than we would have liked to get out of Cape Town.
We're borrowing this from our good friend Stefan, put us up for the night. Top bloke.
One day when I get my act right, I will choose to let go.
Second day on the road, on our way to Riversdale. It's only been about 20 minutes. And my bike's been resting on exhaust, which has burnt the whole side cover.
Boys decided not to come for a surf this morning, and arriving here at Super Tubes in Jeffreys Bay, one of the world's best right-hand brakes, we're kind of regretting that decision. Looking at, there's a few surfers out there getting a few nice rides, and we're kind of a little bit gutted, but the reality is we're here on a motorbike trip. We're not set up for surfing, and we don't have a lot of money spare, so we're just going to have to bite our bottom lip and just watch these other guys surf, unfortunately. It's a good thing it's not absolutely cranky.
A shaky start for the embattled XR250. Our doubts grew as to whether all the bikes would be up to 6 months in Africa.
Clutch cable snap. Try and make a makeshift clutch out of a Nick's spare throttle cable.
We're almost at Kiwi now, we've got another 5k's to go, and we'll be, hopefully find somewhere to stay. But yeah, it's been an interesting day. About as interesting as it's been so far in terms of challenges. Feeling a little bit out of the comfort zone in King Williamstown, with the locals hanging around as we fix Jerry's clutch cable.
Number 1, don't arrive anywhere in the dark.
Probably rule number 2 or 3, tie your stuff down securely so that you don't donate half of it to Africa.
We're leaving Kiwi and heading deeper into the Transkei. Shame actually to have to leave Kiwi. It seems like a really nice place. But it's the nature of the travel we're doing. I guess we have to push on through at different stages, just keep on riding.
Leaving Kiwi, we had two options: back to the main road or take the rusty barge across the river.
Hit the soft sand and bailed. Got my ankle a bit twisted. Jerry was coming along behind me and ran into the back of me. First experience on soft sand. Only got 20,000 k's to go of it.
Even taking Phil's approach of slow and steady, problems could arise, raising more doubt as to whether the 250s were up to the task.
So I was cruising along the road here, and the back of my bike suspension basically blown out, so the seats come down right onto the to the back wheel almost, and the suspension's just blown out. So we had a look, and it looks like the guiding pin which runs up the suspension shaft is broken. So we're going to have to see what we can do to replace that. Just about to head down to some farmers down the road to see if they can help us out.
Just short of the Botswana border here, we've run into some problems with Phil's bike. Just another prime example of South African hospitality. Nick and Jeremy went down to the local farm just down the way, the first driveway they came to. The farmer, it's unbelievable, whipped the broken shock out, no time flat, and much did it all himself, spilled oil all over his patio, wasn't too worried. Now we're just going to go weld the broken part up and hopefully be back on track. Guy's a machine. In no time flat, our South African farmer friend has pulled the suspension out, welded a new system on, got it all going, organised some steel for our barbecue. Only took about half an hour to do the whole thing, so hopefully we can still make it to Botswana today. Botswana! Just outside of Kiwi in the middle of Botswana and close to the Makharihari salt pans. We're hoping to head into this afternoon.
In search of the salt pans, we were told to take the left fork. We found about 20 forks and 20 kilometres of soft sand and 40-degree heat that made for slow progress and shortened fuses.
I saw the cam and when I was coming up there and I was like, I'll drive onto the middle and do a little bit, get a little bit loose, but then I just fell off. It wasn't really a bail though, it's more a stop, drop bike.
We should have jumped on the other side.
Oh,
You can't blame me, Jerry.
I'm blaming everybody. Fucking sand.
That's pretty hard work.
I just hit some nice soft sand. I think
said there was a little bit of sand, David.
Jules just dropped his bike again. Really safe to say that that all the boys are struggling.
Can someone give me a hand, please?
The sight of the endless salt pans was a much-needed reward after a hot, hard day's toil. Our first mini triumph, we were stoked as we emerged onto a lunar-like landscape. As the day subsided and the moon rose, casting its light over our camp for the night, we felt like we were camped on the moon, in some strange out-of-body and planet experience.
How's the goat, Jules? I didn't even know it was goat.
Bits of dough.
Is it? Oh, the beef siswa. Maybe that's the goat siswa, or maybe this is the goat siswa.
Back from our adventure, we refueled at Kiwi and spent time chilling with the local kids.
and now it's time we're going on a Makora tour through the Okavango Delta, where the river disappears into the earth. It's going to be exciting. And there's apparently game and buffalo, and heaps of elephant. I'm quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be one of the highlights of the whole trip, eh? So.
3 days, 2 nights camping in the Delta, getting poled around by some locals in these little dugout pieces of wood.
Just parked up after about a 45-minute boat ride up the Delta.
How's it? How are you? Just okay today.
Got our guides, Nelson, T-Man, and what's the third guy's name? Samuel.
Now we're got our Makoros behind us, geared up, just about to head into the depths of the Delta.
Just taking the Makoras from our campsite island, which is just over here, to a nearby island, and we're going to go on a bit of a game hunt this evening heat. We've found some impala on the game hunt. 19 females to 1 male, pretty good ratio. That stag's doing pretty well for himself.
Surprised us, and they're about 20 meters away, so it's pretty cool, pretty happy about that.
Nelson, is that hippo coming for us?
Yeah.
The male hippo's starting to chase us again, so we're just waiting for him to resurface.
Unleashed on the road again, we punished ourselves for having rested at the Okavango Delta and rode for over 500 kilometres in one afternoon, arriving to Ngepi camp where we promptly gave ourselves some more rest and the necessary repairs were made.
Got me some new panniers made, pretty nice, from I'm the Man Metalwork and Mould.
Cheers boys, 5,000 kilometres up.
Shop work, Jerry, Jules.
Here's to the next 25.
We have a female boom sling. Very poisonous snake or so.
Taking in the sunset over the Okavango River, and yeah, it's cool. It's good that we didn't just leave today because nice to just relax. We've done some hard riding. We did about 500 k's to get here 2 days ago, and it's good to just chill.
This is the fucking life, mate.
Just cruised through the Zambian border post, got reasonably held up there. Phil had a puncture, so we had to change that over, as well as getting carbon tax, CIPs, third-party insurance, and a little bit of immigration action.
Viens Joseph Akaikombe, l'infinitif de Kikinuani.
Behind me, Phil is nearly dead. He's had his first case of stomach sickness, a runny tummy.
We were drinking from the Okavango River when we weren't supposed to.
ANG Solution Mwinda Andrenga nous les pétroliers Sa Majesté Mwinda Jacques Colonela viens moi Mamou Anguissa You guys have school? Yabiso Moko de Hotel Vito Siamasa Papa Kinalo Jacques Kuka Ya c'est la force.
Go to Malawi, go to the border, leave Zambia on election day.
It's 6:30 in the morning. The sun's been up for about an hour. It's way too hot to sleep in the tents now. Couldn't be much more perfect. Pretty awesome, eh?
We're at Singa Bay, 5:30 in the morning, down at the local harbour where all the boats are coming in after a night's fishing. They all go out. Fishing's apparently better at night, so they spend the night out there, sleep during the day. And yeah, they just arrive back at 5, 6 in the morning to drop off their catch to the markets.
Abalindwa na ba Jerusalemu
Abalindwa na ba Jerusalemu balindiraga Yesu
Abalindwa na ba Jerusalemu
Abalindwa na ba Jerusalemu balindiraga Yesu
Wene Yesu ajobile
Wene Yesu ajobile
The fish were dried en masse for sale at markets around Malawi. We tried this Malawian staple diet, but it wasn't our kettle of fish. However, Malawi did have an abundance of wooden crafts that took our fancy.
So you're making chess pieces here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's napkin. Now we're making napkin wings.
Right.
Yeah.
To remain on guard round any seemingly quiet corner, as you could not rely on cars, trucks or buses to stay on their side of the road, or on the road at all.
It's on the road, eh?
Yeah, bro.
We're leaving Southern Africa and moving to Central Africa where the religion turns to Muslim, and we arrive in Ramadan. Time to load up, I guess. Bring on Tanzania.
We rolled onward past countries, capitals, potholes and people, dancing along the shores of Lake Malawi into Tanzania, the wonder of Ruaha National Park and the bustle of Dar es Salaam, before heading inland for Mwanza on the edge of Lake Victoria. After a quick stop in Iringa, we geared up for safari at Ruaha National Park.
We're here in the Ruaha National Park, and we've been here for about an hour, and I can't get over the number of species we've seen and how comfortable they are with our presence. So really looking forward to the next 3 days. Just really, for me, I'd love to see one of the big cats, maybe some lions. That really topped the trip off for me to this point. This is probably going to be our one big safari experience. We're here in Ruaha instead of Serengeti. Basically, we've decided to come here because it's a bit cheaper. We're getting this for about 60 US a day. It's worked out at, partly through planning and partly through luck.
Just discovered the elephant had breasts like humans.
Is this an elephant getting angry at you, bro?
Yeah,
Just found 3 lions hanging out in a dried up stream bed. Pretty crazy. We're getting a little bit complacent about giraffes and elephants. But these boys are pretty wicked.
Bit close for comfort.
it's quite exciting.
I never thought we'd come this close. I never thought I'd be sitting on a roof. Wow. It's quite scary.
It was amazing to be in the presence of such powerful animals on their home turf. Seeing the lions really gave us a feeling that we were in a land of greatness.
Trying a new technique here to try and lure some animals out. Live bait.
Shot bro.
Taking one for the team. Ah!
Beautiful sunset. I guess Africa has every day. Fuck, it's amazing out here.
With our wild animal desires fulfilled, the Odyssey roared into life again, heading for the coast in Dar es Salaam.
My face is that of a stranger to those who know my name. My voice will come later than the things I say when the light starts shining. We all look the same, yeah. And these paper walls around me would burn to the ground if I could just find my name. But all I got's this flame when the light starts shining. We all look the same, oh yeah.
We made a planned stop in Dar es Salaam to arrange our Sudanese visas. This gave us time to explore the markets and enjoy the coastal life for a few days.
Called Embassy yesterday, and finally our Sudanese visas are ready. So 10 days after we arrived in Dar, we can finally leave. Got 1 month to get to Sudan now, so definitely getting itchy feet, need to get on the road again. Also getting itchy arms because I just got mauled by a mosquito. So itchy all round, and good day to be leaving.
We were getting comfortable on the rough roads south of Serengeti, maybe a little too comfortable for some considering the nearest town and hospital were 300 kilometres in either direction over unforgiving terrain.
I think I might have just executed one of those spectacular crashes on the Odyssey so far, going 40-45 k's. Back wheel got caught on a ridge in the middle of the road. Wasn't quite sure how to pull out of it. Don't really know what I did, it all happened too fast. The next thing you know, I got flung good 4 or 5 metres through the air, bailed onto the sand, probably quite lucky as a sand road. I'm really quite happy that I don't appear to have sustained any injuries. Wrist felt a little bit sore, but I think the adrenaline's starting to wear off and I can't feel any pain anywhere, and the bike seems to be reasonably unscathed. Probably the biggest casualty is going to be the fruit in my pannier.
This is what Nick looked like in my rear vision mirror when he fell off.
We hit the dirt en route to Mwanza, a lakeside port town where we were told to watch our backs by the local police force.
Doing a bit of bike maintenance, picked up a lot of dust and shakes and rattles on the rough roads.
We're in Mwanza, a township on the southern end of Lake Victoria in Tanzania. We're on a voyage later this evening, departing at 10 p.m. from Mwanza to Bukoba. It's around a 7.5 hour to 8 hour journey. Cool, that's going to hold it there.
Anxiously waiting as our bikes were craned onto the boat, the African Odyssey was about to set sail from Tanzania across Lake Victoria, aiming to land just short of the Ugandan border.
This place isn't safe. People on the boat won't be safe. They'll steal whatever they can take. Here come the other two bikes.
Whew. This is African travel, right? Fun and games, right? There's a lot of dodgy dudes around this place. And to top it off, we had some guy helping us and then demanded a whole lot of money, and it doesn't stop, eh? But we've been told to keep everything off the bikes, otherwise everything's going to get stolen, including wing mirrors. But yeah, tomorrow's my birthday, and for a gift from the Odyssey, I crossed the equator. Couldn't be happier. Hey, Africa!
Just arrived at Bukoba port after a long night's journey. We were informed that we shouldn't leave anything out on the bikes, otherwise it might get stolen, so we did shifts, 2-hour shifts each, watching over the bikes with a big solid tyre lever, making sure no one stole any of our stuff.
Safely on terra firma, we headed past Kampala to the source of the Nile and on to Kenya. Despite deteriorating weather and the threat of the bandit highway weighing heavier than an election for Robert Mugabe, we ignored reason and purchased a 7-day transit visa. Heaps of time, so long as everything goes according to plan.
Miles downstream, Egypt. That'll be us in about 2 months' time. We have Christmas in Cairo. But for now, here at the source of the Nile, just downstream of Lake Victoria. We're going to go and kayak this river today.
Clean as a whistle. It's about 15 minutes of scrubbing.
It's the morning of Phil's birthday. He's 26 today. And for his present, we're going to drive on our motorbikes. .560 metres above sea level. Just been riding through New Zealand. Today's scenery's been remarkably reminiscent of home. Makes you a little homesick when you smell cows and pine trees. Very beautiful.
Last stop before the Bandit Highway was a visit to a Kiwi friend, Simon Dugdale, at the Lewa Rhino Sanctuary.
Rhino.
Check that out.
Do rhino in our path here. Little baby one.
Made it. Big day, but finally here on the game sanctuary. Seen some rhino. Simon's hooking us up with some accommodation. Have a few beers. It's gonna be good. Simon's done quite a bit of riding and he's given us some good advice on how to set a bike up properly, since we didn't really know. Getting some work done here. Just trying to protect my legs in the soft sand and in the rough parts with the steel boxes. If I fell off or put my foot down, these steel bars could have broken my leg, so just getting them ground off. Gonna put some fuel tanks on the side, so have some new bars welded on. My man's on the job.
Here we are in Lewa Conservancy Farm, 500 kilometres from the north border of Kenya. 7-day transit visa means we have to get out in 4 days. 500 kilometres of the most strenuous road in Africa. It's going to be our worst roads yet. Yes, well, bring on Ethiopia. 2 days of the worst roads in Africa. We've managed to strike it in the middle of a big storm. But hard to get going when you look out and see rain like this and you know you've got some super tough roads ahead. But with the visa, 7-day transit visa, we've really just got to give it a nudge and hope we make it.
Longest day, hasn't started too well.
Bit of caked mud here. This whole wheel just locked and it just wouldn't turn at all, so I'll just try and pull the mud guard right off. Allow me to keep going.
After 12,000 kilometres of perfect tar road, this is where the 250s come into their element. Yeah, me and Phil become cameramen. Helping fellow bikers.
locked in on the game farm. We've got 280 k's to drive and we've covered 1k in about an hour. Thick mud, so what the hell are we doing here?
If we could escape the mud of Dugdale's, we would be on the Bandit Highway, hoping to make Marsabit.
Well, we attempted to run the gauntlet to the Ethiopian border yesterday. We intended to make Marsabit, but due to the mud on Lewa at Simon Dugdale's, we only made it as far as Lysamus here. Ended up taking refuge at the local police station. I think it's going to end up being free of charge. These guys have looked after us very well. Other than the barking dogs in the night, a great place to camp. And today we're just going to see how far we can make it. Probably going to be another 2 days to the Ethiopian border. And yeah, just got another 2 days of these insanely corrugated roads. It's just ridiculous on the bikes and the bodies. The bikes are falling apart. The bodies are feeling it, but generally doing okay. Haven't seen any bandits yet, so that's the main thing. Yeah, we'll just pack up and hit the road again and hope the bikes can handle another 2 days of this.
About to hit the most notorious road in Africa, bandit territory. Let's hope we make it safely.
Take your hardness pills this morning, Mungo?
Yeah, I think I shat them out there.
Scared of bandits?
Yeah, I think we were leaving too late to make pierogi. Got 60 k's to get to someplace. We're in Marsabit, got to get to Moyali by tomorrow night, apparently. And there's about 4 places to stop on the way. And one of those places is a police station, and that's 180 k's from here.
So you think it's a bad idea?
So I think it's a bad idea.
We've been recommended to get a police escort. We're going to flag that, make a dashing run for it.
Do you think we're leaving too late?
No, let's do it.
Sweet. I think we're probably leaving too late, but sometimes got to throw caution to the wind and just drive. Hope for the best, hope for no bandits, hope for no breakages, hope for everything to go well, and hopefully Mungo's not right.
Once again, we made an Odyssey-style decision that would put pressure on us. The Bandit Highway is infamous for hijackings, but time was of the essence. With only 2 days to cover 250 kilometres of rough roads, we had to press on.
We left Marsabit about 2 hours ago. We're now in Babusa. Had a bit of a fall along the way on the volcanic rock. It's pretty hard riding. It's a pretty rural looking town in the middle of the Badlands. There's a lot of people around pretty interested in us and the camera and things, but we're just trying to find some accommodation at the moment. If there's no accommodation, we'll look at cruising on to the next town. But, it's pretty amazing scenery.
Progress is very, very slow.
Think we'll make it?
No. We're staying here tonight.
Make you feel?
I know it because we could have made it.
Quite disheartening when you drive and you feel like you've driven for about 50 kilometres or 100 kilometres and you look down at the speedo and see you've gone 10.
With no accommodation available, we chased the sun in search of a safe place to spend the night.
Last night we stopped in a little town where we tried to find some accommodation, and Phil was on kitty, so he tried to find some, but it was pretty unsuccessful really. We couldn't find anywhere to stay, so we decided to make a mad rush, 80 kilometres, or supposedly 80 kilometres to the next town.
It's been a bit of worry amongst the group that we're going to get killed, which is fair enough because some people have been here. Talking to the cop at the police station where we stayed last night. Sometime last year, a bunch of Somalians came through here with machine guns and massacred 15 locals, so it puts a bit of perspective on how dangerous this area really is. Just found this underneath my tent. Empty cartridge for maybe about a 300 and something caliber. So yeah, I think someone was killed on the spot where I slept last night. What is it, Mungo?
99.
It's about a
308 is it?
yeah, something around that size. Could be from automatic weapon though, which is probably more likely around here.
Hoping the worst was behind us, we set off in high spirits, feeling as though we had slipped through the bandit highway without any major trouble. The golden run continued. Nearing the end of bandit territory, just when we thought everything was going to plan, progress stalled.
What actually was the case was the chain guard had broken and flicked inside the front sprocket and locked the whole engine up, causing it to stop. A bit of a mission to get the chain guard out because it was wedged between the chain, the sprocket, the chain, the rubber, and then the steel of the whole cap that covered the front sprocket. So it took ages, ended up just ripping rubber out and wiggling here and there and setting up a lever off the chain, and we've eventually got it out. So hopefully the bike starts. It was playing up before this happened, so that's why I thought I'd seize the engine, but still got 80 km of real rough road. You can see up ahead there's about 5 trucks stuck in the mud, aren't going anywhere, so it's going to be rough riding. I've already had a bale today, had one every day for the past 3 days, so it'd be nice to make it through unscathed.
Well, after a crazy 130 kilometres yesterday, probably the hardest riding I've ever done in my life, we've turned up in Moyale.
Shattered, shaken, and relieved to have made it without any bandit encounters, we shouted ourselves and the bikes a wee treat on the Ethiopian side of the border town Moyale. Despite being the only country in Africa never to have been colonised, Ethiopia had a strong Italian influence. That meant we were now riding on the right-hand side and drinking strong coffee as we cruised north via Lake Awassa to Addis Ababa.
What we've got here is one of the local delicacies of Ethiopia, tigabino. It's a spicy bean curry served with the injera bread. Very tasty. One of our favourites. Tigabino.
7:05 a.m. About to leave Awassa and head to Addis Ababa on the 16th of November, head to the capital of Ethiopia.
Hanging out for 4 days in Addis, we needed to arrange some Sudanese currency. We struggled as our cash reserves were getting low and there was only one cash machine in all of Ethiopia. The long and winding road of the Odyssey continued to throw up unexpected challenges. My cooling fan packing up at the bottom of the Nile Gorge Canyon.
Yep. Tank removal in the wops. That's how we do it. Maybe. Still attached to some stuff.
A group of locals helped load Audrey onto the back of a truck, while others took advantage of the distraction.
Hey, get away from my bike! Hey! 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 Stop that kid! Stop that kid! Hey, thief! Stop that thief! What?
Did he have it, bro?
Yeah, he dropped it.
Huh? What's going on, Mungo?
So we just manhandled Todd's bike in the back of the truck. It's all pretty loose here. Fucking scrape the sides, it's coming across. Someone tried to steal our sunblock. But we've got 70 k's to go. It's just gone dark. See what happens. Had a bit of a stroke of luck last night. We thought we were going to be stuck on the side of a hill with Audrey's broken cooling fan and an overheating bike. And then Bright came past in his Isuzu truck, gave me and Audrey a ride into the city. The boys had to ride through the night. It was a little bit risky, feel a bit bad for them, sitting up the front of that truck, just kind of cruising along. But we made it here to Debre Marcos. We're here with Ethiopia's master mechanic, Napoleon. He's hooked me up with a new fan. He had the spare part. He's hoping it all goes to plan, because we are heading to Sudan in the desert. And cooling is going to be critical, I think.
Bit of a break from the riding to Gondor. Stopped at a castle which we stumbled across, which is just sitting up on the hill here over Lake Tana. Pretty good spot for a castle, nice and prominent. Do you think there's going to be a maiden at the top of this castle, Mungo? Right. Just being escorted off the castle grounds by a couple of locals with guns. Apparently we're not allowed to go to the castle.
Whoopsie.
That's the thing, eh?
Oh, so apologise. Sorry.
Sorry. Well, there was no sign to say that.
But there was no one here.
There was no one there.
No one here when we came. We come and there was no one here. Bit of a worrying one. Just when you think it's going to be a breeze to make the border, Mungo gets a puncher. Is that a what? Move.
Take a bino.
And we won.
Woohoo! With no time to spare. Shot bolt.
Boys.
Here, bro. Shot bolt. Shot that bull.
Squeaking into Sudan with no time to spare, like an antelope outrunning a cheetah, the relief was palpable. With supply posts uncertain, we rode through Khartoum, out into the seemingly infinite sea of sand towards the Meroe pyramids in Wadi Halfa. The challenge of the desert was an exciting prospect as we headed north to Cairo.
It's all good. Sudan's really nice so far. Big, long, straight roads, but a bit sleepy, but people seem really friendly. There's not much tourism, so they don't really know how to berate us for things. They just hang out and treat you like a friend, so it's cool. Really cool. It's a welcome change from Ethiopia.
So here we are in the edge of the Sahara Desert. From here it's just over 900 kilometres to Wadi Halfa, through a whole lot of soft sand, pretty rough roads, hot temperatures, you name it, that's in front of us. No water, little petrol, little food. We've got to carry it all on our little two-wheeled motorbikes.
Pita bread and beans was standard fare in Sudan. We stocked up before heading for a landmark that we didn't really know existed, Meroe Pyramids north of Khartoum.
Did you forget about the things you've learned when the secret means of power through the powerless world? You can say anything you want to, anything about me, but it won't be half as forcible as when
Have we got enough stuff to even camp out? Have we got any food?
No, we've got no food, no water, nothing.
Just been chatting with some people from the chopper. Nice Kiwi lady, some Frenchies, real nice. They've had some leftover lunch that they thought they might as well give to some poor starving Kiwi boys, so it's pretty awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
Hello. Hello.
Just travelled around 160 kilometres from Khartoum north, and we're at the Meroe Pyramids.
Great open camp not far from the pyramids, we only stayed one night, pushing on to Abu Hamid, our last stop before we were in the desert for real.
So just picking up, need to get some water, some breakfast, and a whole lot of bread. Our staple food for the next 2 days. 369 kilometres of sand along the train track. No clouds, no trees, a couple of water stations. It looks like it's going to be windy. Trusty steeds will follow these lines. Going that way. 369 k's of it. First we need some of this.
Where's the water, Mungo?
Couldn't find any water, there's no shops open at the moment. Yeah, pretty young. Yeah, pretty young. I don't know. Need a big. No. Down some boat?
Oh, he's got like 7 or 8 little bottles there.
Everyone's got like 7 or 8 little bottles there.
I think it's 7 there, and there's supposed to be 3 litres there and 3 litres there. Start. I just sheared the top of my oil cap off. We were just about to leave.
so it's a bit of a problem because the oil's going to leak out of here. But we just have to jimmy something onto it up so it can hold it down until we get to Cairo and have it fixed properly. No, we're not supposed to film here, we've just been warned not to, so we've got to put the camera away before it gets confiscated for good and the documentary ends in Haifa.
I'm just trying to keep a constant speed, or constant rev. It's quite high.
Woo! Desert riding! Woo! Hot stuff in the desert.
Yeah, started off today a bit pissed off. Had a silly crash right at the start, like not even before I left town. Just trying to keep up with the boys and go fast through the sand and just bailed. It's just silly, and I've bent the whole front of my bike, so I've kind of devalued the whole thing and smashed all my flaring. So not too happy about that whole situation. Not that happy that I've got another few more crashes to go on the website count. Kind of makes me look like a tool, but maybe I am.
It's quite good fun riding on the sand. Got the boogied up bike, got some bit of metal putty holding my oil in, got a bit of scrap metal holding my back wheel up, got some rubber tyre holding my light on. So we come to the most dangerous part of the trip when we drive through the Sahara, and pretty much all the bikes have got something wrong with them, but they'll see us through. They've been good to us so far.
There was a nasty little road to start off with this morning. It was quite like any other nasty road. Bumpy, big ruts, holes, deep sand, and I'm pretty sure all the other boys think what I was thinking, and that was that this was going to be a super hard crap day. And then kind of opened out to a point where you could start picking your own lines, and we started going off the road a wee bit and just out on this flat kind of stony sandy desert stuff, and it's a dream. The whole thing for me out here was being able to keep my bike going fast, so I've got air flowing over the engine and the radiator, keep Audrey cool, and due to the flatness of the terrain I've been able to absolutely bang it. It's been awesome.
Note to selves, when riding into desert, make sure you have more than enough fuel to drive out the other side.
Only 140 k's in, and I've already ran out of gas. It's not ideal.
We're going to run out of gas if this keeps going like this, eh?
Yeah.
Fuck! Ow! Ow! Oh!
Oh, that's weak, bro, that's weak.
One day when I get my act right, I will choose to let go. Someday when I get my facts right, I will choose to let you know. Come play when I get my tracks tight, jump into the next floor. Some say I should get my stats right, I will choose not to show.
Got enough fuel to make it, bro?
I did think we had enough, but now I might be more in the no camp. After I just checked how much gas I used in that burn in that long sand yesterday, it was a lot. So I know we've got soft sand coming up, so maybe stopping a bit before Wadi Halfa and sending Mungo off to get some more gas.
tuna we just caught from the Sahara Desert. Some fresh sardines. Boys have been busy. Just milked the cow and made some cheese. And flew to Turkey and got some Turkish delight.
Hiding from the sun. Yeah, shady here, hot out there, still hot here.
The trade-off between speed to stay on top of the sand and saving gas had to be considered. Things got very tight, but in typical Odyssey fashion, we somehow scraped through on the fuel reserves that we had.
Stop boys, made it through the desert.
Don't ever miss this. Conquered.
With long days in the desert behind and 3 days to wait for the ferry to Egypt, we slept in and made the most of the downtime.
We're in Wadi Halfa, right at the northern tip of Sudan.
Kicking around in Wadi Halfa, we thought we should try on the local garb. It made a change from drinking tea and coffee 7 hours a day, and if we weren't so low on funds, we would have purchased.
Good.
Created a bit of a stir in Wadi Halfa, white men in robes.
After catching the ferry to Aswan, the frustration was building. We couldn't leave until we had all our documentation, including new Egyptian number plates. The intensity of Egypt was a shock to the system after laid-back Sudan.
This has to be one of the longest border crossings I've ever undertaken in my life. Started yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, starting at immigration. The whole day we ended up paying 2 tickets, one for the bike, one for us, having 6 receipts that we had to hand to different people's, including 1 stamp, and about 7 different payments. That was just to leave Sudan.
In Aswan, days started early with Muslim prayers belted out on loudspeaker systems around the city, and was most interesting to explore after dark.
In a city-style living here in Egypt, quite bustly at night, and in the mornings there's nothing happening, so we're going to use tonight as a transition and just stay up late and sleep lots tomorrow.
Yeah, sleep lots.
We had like 4 days in Wadi Halfa and now another 4 here, so it's been over a week since we've been riding, so it's good to get back on the bike.
Awesome to be back on the bikes. We rode through a few roadblocks before being stopped and having to convince the police to let us ride on unescorted. Once you have been in a convoy, you will know how good it is to avoid one. We were riding to Luxor in the Valley of the Kings, an area with a high concentration of ancient Egyptian artifacts. The temple of Queen Hatshepsut, the only woman to rule over Egypt as pharaoh. One of the few temples we could film in the Valley of Kings without paying.
In 1997, at Hachipitsu Temple here. 60 tourists got killed by terrorists with machine guns, and that pretty much buggered the Egyptian tourist industry. So it's pretty quiet here today. Imagine it wasn't in 1996, but yeah, pretty tragic event happened right here.
Had our ancient Egyptian tour through the Valley of the Kings. Now we're back here in the madness of modern Egypt, lapping up the culture and horns.
Pretty early rise this morning. For some reason the Egyptians feel like tourists have to travel in convoys, so we've got to make an 8 o'clock deadline. We've still got to get gas, still got to pack our bikes. It's about 6:45, so we're going to get some breakfast into us, pack the bikes and hopefully make the 8 o'clock deadline to catch this convoy to Hurghada in the Red Sea.
How much does petrol cost here, Phil?
About 10 cents a litre. Not bad. Tank costs about $1.20.
Bring on the convoy! Woo!
Due to attacks on tourists by radicals, it is compulsory for tourists to travel on the main roads and in convoy. We were forced into a convoy from Luxor to Hurghada, which was more like a chaotic race for bus drivers vying for the front spot. This pushed our bikes and wits to the limit, so we were relieved when we slipped past a roadblock to avoid the final convoy to Cairo. So close to a major milestone, Cape Town to Cairo, the Odyssey was free to tear up the tar. Cairo, smog, horns and general mayhem, we perused the museum and back alleys before heading to see the pyramids of Giza.
Whoopsie! Just pulled up outside the pyramids. To be told that 4 PM, pyramids closed, can't go in. So we taxied out here for $5 to get the long distance view of the Giza pyramids. Oh well, shit happens.
Got here about 4 minutes past 4. And this shot.
To have survived the calamity of Egypt, the Odyssey headed west via El Alamein on the north coast of Egypt, then crossed into Libya past the remains of Leptis Magna. Tunisia would be our last African destination, and the lads were excited at the prospect we might actually make London. But first, we left the madness of Cairo to celebrate Christmas on the Red Sea.
Diary cam at sunset on the coast of the Red Sea, Ras Sadar on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. All the boys are getting very excited. A few packages have arrived. We've set up a little Christmas tree inside, and yeah, we're doing our best to make it homely and avoid missing home. And yeah, I think we're all pretty content here. We've got a beach, we've been playing beach volleyball all day, kicking the ball around. It feels like a natural Christmas, just we don't have our families here.
Don't know what's gone wrong here. Me and Phil just opened our parcels, got these new hats. Todd's bike's on the back of a ute. Oh shit, had some trouble with Phil's bike this morning as well. Let's see what's going wrong.
Wow, we just got run over by a truck.
Dark Odyssey day. He's driving down and there's a truck place there and he'd driven past it. So he'd stopped and he was backing up to go there. And because we were coming behind him, like he must have seen that place and then gone, put the brakes on. And no, it's such a wide truck that as we came right in behind him in the middle, he hadn't seen us.
I think we could look at getting it welded today.
It's about 10 past 6. Just had an early morning wake up from the front of the house, waiting for my man to come pick me up, drive me and my broken bike to Cairo.
I just got to wait for the motorcycle store to open. Woo, hopefully today goes well. My Odyssey could depend on it.
What happened? It's good? Good. Very strong?
After a long wait, they found someone to weld up the alloy. Audrey was back in action again, but with no rear brakes and a buckled front end, things were still rather sketchy.
Just done around about 200 kilometres of sketchy, worry-full riding. It would appear that my shock is holding up and the brakes haven't melted together and it hasn't fallen to pieces and crashed all over the road, although that thought's gone through my mind many times.
Nice soot layer here from the bed sticking out under the helmet.
We're here this morning at Al Alamein War Cemetery in the north of Egypt. There's a number of New Zealand soldiers fallen here and buried here, and good family friends of mine from Whakatane, the Hurons. They have one of their ancestors died here, and Joe Hurron asked me to try and find his grave. I'm standing in front of the names of the New Zealand men that died here in Al Alamein or in other battles in Africa who have no known graves. No doubt the ancestors of people we know are here, people we're related to. So yeah, it's kind of nice to be here. A little bit sad.
It was extremely emotional to see the graves of so many thousands of young soldiers who came for adventure and found the horror of war. We felt extremely lucky that our adventure was on different terms.
Salam alaikum. Welcome to Egypt. Welcome.
It's, yeah, we've travelled the past 2 days and scattered rain clouds across from Cairo to Saloum, the border town, bordering Libya. Yeah, Nick's bike's a bit of a worry, like it's a bit of a concern watching him ride. He's got a very big buckle in the front tyre and the front rim.
The reality is that there's nothing to fix it with here. You know, Jules is saying he hopes he gets it I get it fixed, and that's, you know, it's the same as me. You know, it's just personal concern for your friends and for your own safety. But there's just like I was in Cairo, the biggest city in Egypt, and there was nothing to get it fixed with. So, you know, if I can get it fixed, sure I will, but I don't like my chances.
Strongest of the pack, contaminated me. Yeah. Left me on the curb and fully buried me.
We'll be cracking to this 0% Bavarian malt beer. What more could you ask for on New Year's Eve? New Year's Eve, I've been driving for about 6 hours since about 5. Haven't really covered much ground though, to be backwards and forwards. Trying to find gas stations, trying to find food. But now we're here coming in the Libyan desert.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
New Year's Day today. We finally made it into Libya. Brought in the New Year last night, surrounded in darkness. Woke to this nice surprise. Now we're off to ride through the desert. It's about 370 k's across the desert. We'll probably do 340 maybe, and then stop for another free camp.
Last night we rolled in here in the dark and I pulled the back wheel off my bike, find that I'd blown the bearing out. I've pulled the middle out of the bearing, but the outer rim is stuck inside and I can't dislodge it, so I can't really ride the bike today. Me and Nick are going to look at getting a truck to Tripoli.
Jules and Twads get to ride in a truck in this real cold wind, and me and Phil get to ride ahead in it on our motorbikes. It's a real strong headwind and it looks like rain.
Flagging down an 18-wheel truck on the main highway was easier than expected and a great introduction to Libyan hospitality.
The dude in that truck reckons he can take us about 150 or 170 k's.
After half an hour of waiting out on the road, we've waved down a truck. Nick talked kindly with the driver and he's hooked us up.
After Jules' breakdown last night with his bearing, it only made sense for me to join him in the truck here. It's not purely about getting in here into the comfort, out of the cold. My bike is in a very shoddy state.
We've made it to Maserat. I'm here with my two buddies. These fellas run a little carpentry here. They've allowed me to put my bike in their shed and popped off. Got a new bearing, no probs. Only took an hour, put them in. Sweet as, gonna put the wheel on.
Today we're visiting one of the more famous sites in Libya. It's a ruins of an ancient city called Leptis Magna, which was originally a Carthaginian city back in about 200 BC. Then the Romans took over in about 100 BC, and then they had a bit of a Pimp My City program. Get a pretty good view of the Mediterranean from the Leptis Magna Theatre. Only about 1,000 kilometres that away is Italy, and then once we get to there, we've only got about 1,000 k's to go until the north coast of France, and then from there it's a short hop to London, so not far to go.
Just ran to the back of the car. We're at the police stop. Policeman's waving us forward. Ready. Simon whistled out to me over here. So I was like, oh yeah, all sweet. So I looked around, and then next thing I know, the car in front of me had stopped when the policeman was waving him on. I was smacked into him, like landed on the car, got like quite okay, I think. I've got a blow on my front tyre. I don't know any other damage, but I'm okay. Just a bit shaken, I got the shakes at the moment.
I saw the Jerry hit the back of it, and his whole back wheel was up in the air, completely up, pretty much vertical, and Jerry just flew onto the back of the car, and then the bike just dropped down. It's just like bang, just like that, eh? So quick.
So I got a bung wheel along with Twas, 10 k's to the border, a lot more k's before we get some help. I hope she lasts. Held together by super glue pretty much. Take it for a run.
If we make it to Tunis, the capital of Tunisia today, will be our final day's riding in Africa, which is, I think, is at the forefront of all our minds.
The last stretch of African road was as dangerous as any other and would take us to Tunis, the capital of Tunisia, a city that feels more European than African.
Did you forget about the things you've learned when seeking means of power?
We've gone from almost the southernmost point of Africa to almost the northernmost point.
It's close enough. In the African Odyssey, if we come close enough, it's
close enough.
It's close enough.
We use a blunt pencil.
That's right.
When drawing our maps.
With our departure to Europe closing in, we weren't sure what to think or feel. To have no more Africa left to encounter on this journey, we almost wanted to go back to the start and do it all again.
Just about to leave Africa. It's about 10 o'clock at night and everyone's falling asleep. Goodbye, Africa.
Like lion cubs being weaned from their mother, we were sad to leave the beauty of our African adventures behind.
Give up on you and me.
It's cold. We're not in Africa anymore. Woohoo!
It's cold. So warm up.
In Europe, there was no time to reflect as we almost froze riding through the Alps into the dark, blasting, almost blowing across France and the English Channel, within striking distance of London.
Good morning. Here in Lyon, nice backdrop behind us. In France, we turned up last night a bit late after about 4 hours riding at night.
Very fortunate yesterday to leave Geneva with a pair of back brakes in my bike, back rear brake pads. It's put my mind at ease a lot in terms of driving across Europe. I was very worried about my bike and just whether I was being stupid, taking, I don't know, putting myself at risk just in order to stick with the boys and make it all the way across Europe.
It's good to be back in Lyon. It's been about 3 years. I spent a year here as a student, so that's a nice city. There's plenty to see and do. It's a big, lively place.
An imminent storm is never good news for bikers. Although we were now as hard as nails having ridden through Africa, the idea of torrential rain was quite disconcerting.
Great planning for the Odyssey as usual. We don't even know where we're going or how we're getting there. We just know it's going to be cold.
The weather came in strong. Despite being frozen on arrival, we felt lucky to reach Calais, avoiding the very worst of the storm.
The day before we fly across, ferry across to Dover. It's a little bit windy. Wind speed's 130 kilometres an hour. We're not too hopeful about crossing tomorrow because I think the weather might stop the ferry. See behind me, it's a beautiful day.
Setting sail, the last ferry of the journey was a rough ride across the English Channel, from Calais to the White Cliffs of Dover. Once on English shores, 120 kilometres of riding would be all that remained before the final destination of the African Odyssey.
Months and 3 weeks ago we set out from home looking for an adventure. This adventure's about to end. Now, there's lots of things I'm going to miss, but I can't think about that right now. There's a party in 12 hours, I think. Less than that, 10 hours.
Buzzing, we cruised through London, amazed that our bikes and bodies had lasted the journey. 21,000 kilometres, 160 days, countless crashes and breakdowns, somehow we were still riding. Africa had granted us a rewarding passage, one that will be with us forever. A 6-month journey that sat strong in our minds as we rode to an arrival party where the champagne would fly and the adventure would end.
Just done a massive stretch of riding, 150 k's on the trot. That's heaps for us because something normally comes up. Going to town, driving in, then it just stopped. I looked down and the spark plug had been blown fully out of the chamber.
Do you think we're going to make it through Africa?
Ooh, I think you guys are brave in the utmost.
You want me to be honest?
Absolutely honest.
I think you'll be screwed.
We've talked about that a bit amongst our group. We basically think you're nuts, really.
This guy's wanting to buy my motorcycle for his farm. He's got a cow and a calf in the back of the truck. Almost going, eh? Come on, baby.
A lot of people on the roads, a lot of cows, goats, donkeys.
Watch those toes, eh?
Basically yesterday I did the most waving I've ever done, ever. I've just broken the locking pin holding on my front sprocket. There seems to be a lot of people doped out on some sort of leaf that they eat. This is about the third time that I've had food poisoning, so I don't know, I'm gonna have to be a bit more cautious on what I eat.
Either the fan wasn't working, my little electronic motor was fried, or the power coming to the fan obviously wasn't getting there for some reason. These are the thermostats not completing the circuit, or for some other reason power's not coming.